Find the x and y intercepts of the graph of this parabola. Well, x and y intercepts are points where the graph crosses the x-axis or y-axis. And if you look at the plane and think about what points are on the x-axis, well, the y-coordinates are always 0 on the x-axis, right? So in the x-axis itself can be represented as y equals to 0, and the y-axis itself can be represented as x equal to 0. Okay, so let's see, x equals to 0 will give you the y-intercept. So let's do that first. Okay, so y-intercept, that means you set x as 0. So you have y equals to 2 times 0 squared minus 5 times 0 plus 1. And 0 squared is 0, 0 times anything is 0, 0 times anything is 0, so you just get 1. Okay. See, when you say the graph of f of x, that means you're trying to look at the x and y values that satisfy this equation, right? And what I just did was I just plugged in 0, making the first two as 0, and you get y equals to 1. So the y-intercept is 1. Usually when people say y-intercept is 1, it's not a big problem, but to be more exact, y-intercept is a point on the plane, so it should really have the form of coordinates. Okay, so 0, 1 is the y-intercept of this function. Okay, so here's 1, the graph must pass here. Okay, now for the x-intercept, this time you set y as 0 because any point on the x-axis must have the y-coordinate 0. And that means in this equation you're setting y as 0, and you get 0 equals to 2x squared minus 5x plus 1. Now at this point, you now see that you have a quadratic equation. How do you solve a quadratic equation? Well, one is if you can factor it, that's great. You can solve the quadratic equation by factoring. But if you try, you'll see that this is something that cannot be factored, because if you multiply the first and last, 2 times 1 is 2, and you're looking for two numbers that multiply to 2 and add up to -5, no matter how you try, you'll see that you don't get any two numbers that satisfy that. So if it can't be factored, how do you solve a quadratic equation? You use the quadratic formula, right? So the quadratic formula, there's a song for this. I hope you know the song. X equals -b plus or minus square root b squared minus. Well, I have a better version that I sang on my channel, so you can look up the quadratic formula song on my channel. But it's this formula, okay? Where a is the coefficient of x squared and b is coefficient of x, including the negative sign if there is any, and then c is 1. So you have to use this formula with a equals to 2, b equals to a equals to 2, b equals to -5, and c equals to 1. That's what you have to do in order to use this. And that's negative of -5 plus or minus square root of -5 squared minus 4 times 1 times 2 over 2 times 2. Negative of -5 is 5 plus or minus square root of -5 squared is +25 minus 4 times 1 times 2. 4 times 2 is 8, so it's -8 over 4. And 25 minus 8 is 17. So you get the following answer. You get x equals to 5 plus square root of 17 over 4 and 5 minus square root of 17 over 4. Okay. If you're curious to know what this value is like, well, square root of 17 is similar to square root of 16. Square root of 16 is 4, right? So if you want to know the approximate value, this is like 5 plus 4, which is 9. 9 divided by 4 is like 2 point something something. So you have 1 here, and there's a 2 here, slightly right of the 2, that's where this is. And this will be 5 minus 4 divided by 4 is 1/4, so it's slightly left. It's actually 1/4 is 0.25, it's very close to 0. So you see that if you wanted to know the graph of this parabola that's given, it must pass through these 3 points, and you have to draw a parabola. So what can it be? It must be this. Okay, so this must be y equals to f of x graph. Okay, so what's the answer in this case? In this case, the answer should really be written as coordinates. So you have to write down 5 plus square root of 17 over 4, comma 0, and also and 5 minus square root of 17 over 4, comma 0. Okay, I could barely fit that in there. Okay, but these are the 2 points, and here's another answer, and here's the answer. So you have 3 points, 1 y-intercept and 2 x-intercepts.